Episode 2 Everything changes at the inn. همون چیزا در گورین لمیخانه یا کوچای خانه بشه که The Sea Chest صندوق قابل بونزی. I told my mother everything. We were very frightened and didn't know what to do. If I went to see Dr. Livesey as the captain had told me to do, I would have to leave my mother alone, and her safety was my priority. On the other hand, it also seemed too dangerous for us to stay at the inn. At last, we decided what we ought to do. First, we needed to go to the nearest village to get help. Then we would come back to open the chest and take the money the captain owed us before anyone else came for it. When we got to the village, no one wanted to return with us to the Admiral Benbow, because some of the men had heard of the terrible Captain Flynn, and others had seen strange men on the road that day, as well as a ship in a nearby bay. They were all too frightened to leave their houses.
I'm sorry, Mrs. Hawkins. Captain Flint's men are too dangerous.
We might find someone to ride in the opposite direction of Dr. Livesey's.
A man said.
But no one in his right mind would dare help you defend the inn.
I will not
My mother said.
lose money that belongs to my fatherless boy. If none of you cowards want to help, then Jim and I will go back alone. We'll open that sea chest, even if we have to die doing it.
I'll ride to the doctors for help,
Said a lad. And another man gave me a pistol.
in case you're attacked.
We decided to go back to the inn alone to carry out our plan. When we arrived back at the inn, nothing had changed. We locked the door, lit a candle, and holding each other's hands, we walked into the room where the captain lay. I went down on my knees. On the floor, near the dead man's hand, was a small, round, black piece of paper. The black spot.
This must be the black spot.
I picked it up. Written on one side.
You have until 10 tonight.
Luckily, it was 6 o'clock.
It's only 6 o'clock. They won't be here for 4 hours yet.
I anxiously looked in his pockets for the key to the chest, but I found nothing. Then I saw it on a piece of string around his neck. I cut the string and we went quickly upstairs to find the chest. It was old and well used like any other sailor's chest, and it had the letter B burned on it. Said my mother.
Give me the key.
Though the lock was difficult to open, she turned it and opened the lid in a moment. At the top, there was a carefully folded suit. Under that, there were too many things to count. Some pistols, a large piece of silver, and an old Spanish watch, and many more small objects. At the very bottom of the sea chest lay a packet covered in cloth and a heavy bag that held gold coins.
Let's take what he owed us, and not a penny more.
This is not all English coin.
My mother began to count the coins, but it was a long, difficult job, because all the coins were from different countries and sizes. When we had counted about half of our money, I suddenly heard the tap-tapping of the blind man's stick on the road. And we sat holding our breath. Then the stick banged on the inn door, and we heard the handle being turned. And then silence. At last, the tapping started again, but this time it became quieter and quieter as the man walked away. And not long after that, we heard a whistle below far up on the hill. That was enough for us.
I haven't counted enough to pay his bill, but I will take what I have.
She said, jumping to her feet. And I will take this instead of the rest of the money. I picked up the packet covered in clothes. We went as quickly as we could down the dark stairs and out onto the road. We were on our way back to the village when we heard the sound of someone running, first in the distance and then getting nearer.
My dear,
My mother said,
take the money and run. I think I'm going to faint.
and then she fell on my shoulder. Luckily, we were near a little bridge, and with some difficulty, I managed to pull her under it.
Episode 2 حلقه 2 بخش 2 The Last of the Blind Man دیمایی که زالان بکوره یانکو پیو.
Moments later, 7 or 8 men came running towards the inn. In front, there were 3 men holding hands. Then in the weak light, I could see that in between the other two was the blind man. Go in! The blind man cried.
Aye, aye, sir.
Several men went to the door of the inn, finding the door unlocked.
Go inside.
They went inside. 2 of them stayed outside with the terrible blind man.
Move it, Pew! Where is he? Where is he? He's dead, Pew. There's something on the floor.
After silence, then there was a cry of surprise, a voice shouting from the house.
Bill's dead.
Pew swore and said,
Look in his pockets, then find the chest.
Then the upstairs window was thrown open and a man shouted,
You.
Someone has been in the chest. It is open.
Isn't he there? Pew asked angrily. The money is here. But there is none of Flint's writing.
No.
It's those inn people. It's that boy. I wish I'd put his eyes out.
They were here earlier. Can't find them. The door was locked when I came.
Just then, we heard a whistle coming from the direction of the village. The man said, Kirk has blown the whistle. That means he has seen someone coming.
Let us leave. Keep looking. The boy and his mother can't be far away.
Cried Pew.
You wanna run away? We almost have it.
You could be as rich as king.
If you find it.
Hang it, Pew.
Why don't we go? We got the money.
Then Pew started trying to hit the man with his stick.
Let us leave.
Yeah.
As the fight went on, the sound of horses galloping came from the top of the hill. The sailors quickly stopped firing and ran away, leaving Pew anxiously tapping up and down the road alone. Just then, horses appeared in the moonlight, galloping down the hill towards the inn. Pew screamed at not knowing in which direction to go. One right under the first horse, down he went with a terrible cry.
Are you safe?
The horses came to a stop, and I recognized the boy that had gone from the village to get Dr. Livesey. With him were several law officers who he had met on the way to the doctor's house. Pew was dead, and we went back to find my mother and carry her to the village. The law officers rode on to the bay, but they were too late. The strange ship and the pirates have gone. Then Mr. Dance, the leader of the men, came back from the bay, and I told him everything. And we carried my mother to the village. There she recovered well after a little while. You say they wanted something more than money? Well then, Hawkins, what on earth were they trying to find? I believe I have what they want in my pocket. I would like to get it to Dr. Livesey so that it will be safe. Of course, boy. I shall go myself there and tell him all about this. Why don't you come with me? I will.
Episode 2 حلقه 2 بخش 3 The Captain's Papers پرتوکن کاپتنی نقشاوی.
We found Dr. Livesey at the hall, where he was having dinner with the squire. A servant led us through the great house to the library, where both men smoking their pipes next to the fire. The squire was a tall, strong man with eyebrows that were very black and moved a lot when he spoke.
Come in.
He said in a loud voice.
Good evening, Dance.
The doctor said.
And good evening to you, Jim. What brings you here?
And then Mr. Dance stood up and told his story, and the two gentlemen listened with surprise and interest. Do you have the thing they wanted, Jim? Here it is, sir. Dr. Livesey held it for a moment and then put it carefully in his pocket. You go home, Mr. Dance, said the squire. Jim will stay here tonight and we will give him dinner. And so I ate a wonderful dinner at the hall while we talked. I have heard of this man Flint. Flint was the most dangerous pirate ever sailed. I have seen his ship with terrible eyes painted on its sails. But did he have money? Asked the doctor. Money? Cried the squire. But you heard the story of his treasure. What were those scoundrels looking for if not money? Just tell me, if I have information in my pocket about where Flint buried his treasure. What does that mean we should do? If we have information you are talking about, said Charlie, it means that I will go to Bristol to buy a ship. We will find the treasure if we spend a year looking for it. Then the doctor put the papers on the table and said, if Jim agrees, I will open this packet. The doctor started to open the cloth that covered it. Inside were two things, a book and a roll of paper. The book was full of names, numbers, and dates. This is Flint's gamble, cried the squire. The names are the ships that he sank, and the numbers show the money he took from them. The doctor carefully opened the rolled up paper, and we saw a map of an island, complete with latitude and longitude, names of hills and bays, a large hill in the center named the Spyglass, and every detail that a captain would need to bring a ship in safely. And there were 3 red crosses. One was in the southwest and had these words next to it: "Bulk of treasure here." The second red cross showed where some silver was buried, and the third one, weapons. There were detailed notes and instruction on the back of the map. I didn't understand the map, but the squire and the doctor were very excited.
Oh, by tomorrow evening, I shall be in Bristol. In 3 weeks' time, we will be sailing the best ship, sir, with the most efficient crew in England. Hawkins, you will be a cabin boy, and you, Livesey, the ship's doctor. And, of course, I will be the admiral. We will take my men, Redruth, Joyce, and Hunter too. We will have good winds, a quick voyage, and no difficulty at all in finding the treasure, and more money than we can imagine.
I will go with you. And I think Jim too. But there is only one man I'm afraid of.
And who is that?
Asked the squire with a troubled look on his face.
You. 'Cause you cannot keep a secret. We are not the only men who know about this document. Those men who attacked the inn tonight are not far away, I'm sure. And according to Jim, they want that money. We must be very careful until we are on our way, and we must not say a word about this map to anyone.
Oh, Livesey, you have a point. I will be as silent as the grave,
replied the squire.
Episode 3 خلکاسه The Seacock خارن لینر دریاه بشه که I go to Bristol از دچمه باجر بریستول.
The squire went to Bristol to buy a ship. It took longer than 3 weeks until we were ready to go to sea. A ship was being prepared by the squire, and Dr. Livesey had been called away to London. During that time, I lived at the Hall with old Tom Redruth, and I spent hours looking at the map, imagining every small detail, and dreaming about what would happen when we finally got to the island. And so the weeks passed until one fine day a letter arrived. Off Anchor Inn, Bristol, March 1st. Dear Hawkins, the ship has been bought and it's ready to go to sea. What a ship! She is easy to sail, weighs 200 tons, and her name is Hispaniola. My old friend Blanley helped me to get her. He worked so hard for me. And everybody who knew that we will go to find the treasure, Finding the crew was a problem at first, and I could only find a few men. But then by luck, I met an old sailor. He has an inn, so he knows all the sailors in Bristol. He was ill for a while, but now he wants to work as a ship's cook to get back to sea again. Long John Silver, he is called, and he has lost a leg. Poor man, I told him immediately that he would be our ship's cook. Well, I thought I had just found a cook, but in addition, I had found a whole crew. He has soon found us a group of the toughest old sailors. He then got rid of the weakest 2 of the 6 or 7 men I had already employed. I'm very well, but I won't be happy until we are at sea. So both you and Redruth must come to Bristol tomorrow. John Trelawney. P.S. I forgot to tell you that Blandy, who will send a ship to look for us if we don't come back by the end of August, has found us a captain. He's a little too serious, but in every other way, he's an excellent man, a real treasure. Trelawney has been talking to people, and Dr. Livesey will not like that. But I was very excited to hear the news that the ship was ready.
I'll be looking at it too.
The next day, I said goodbye to my dear mother and the little bay where I had lived since I was born. And then Roderick and I left for Bristol in the evening. It was early the next morning
Bristol.
when we arrived in the city and walked down to the docks to meet Trelawney. There were ships of all shapes, sizes, and nationalities all along the quays. Sailors were singing at their work. And then, suddenly, in front of a large inn, I saw Squire Trelawney dressed like a smart sea officer.
Here you are! The doctor came last night from London. Bravo! The ship's crew is complete. We sail tomorrow.